Hello, everybody. We are going to start with some standing exercises and work on some fundamentals. If you have a flex band, weights, and a small hand towel like this kind of size towel would be helpful today. And we're just going to start standing. So we're going to work a little bit more on balance and stability today. So let your arms just swing a little bit forward and back. You can bend your knees and let them be soft. Just swinging your arms, letting your arms open, and then start to take them more side to side, less front to back and more side to side, opening. And then you can go back to more front to back. It'll kind of bounce through the knees and a little bit more side to side. So you're just doing a few of each, getting the upper body to open, swinging a little forward and back, and a little bit more side to side. One more set. Swinging the arms, letting your shoulders open, and then letting it kind of toss the arms side to side. With pretty much all of the exercises, if you want to use hand weights, you're welcome to add those, except for things like what we're doing right now, where we're swinging. All right, from here, then just find your weight even through the surface of your feet. Lift one foot off the ground and lift your leg up into the air, and then step down on that. Without a lot of shift side to side, lift the other leg up. So you're just marching in place, nice and smooth. And you're lifting one leg up, and then step down into the foot, lift the other leg up. Try to lift your leg as high as you can. Feel the connection through the standing glute. So you're pushing down into your heel to lift the other leg. Push down into your heel to lift the other leg. Push down to lift up. And then keep the leg up. Circle your ankle here. Trying to be as vertical as possible so you're not lifting up and kind of sinking into the lower back. Finding your balance. You always are welcome to put your arms out to the side or hold your hips if that helps you. Reverse your circles. Should feel some work of the top of the thigh working to hold the leg up. And then setting that leg down, going back into that alternating marching. So you're trying to get rid of kind of sinking to lift, but that you're standing really tall and there's very little side to side shift as you lift the leg up. And whichever leg you haven't already held up, you're going to hold it up and circle the ankle, pushing down through the standing leg so that standing glute is really connected, firm, pushing into the heel. Reverse the direction of your ankle circles. If you lose your balance, just reset. And then setting your foot back down, bring your hands back behind your head, round your back, bringing your elbows and your knees towards each other, letting yourself scoop and hollow the lower back out. Push the floor away, lift the sternum to the ceiling. Do that a couple times. Rounding to bring your head and knees towards each other, but try not to just collapse your head. Your butt has to go low if you're going to bring your head low. So instead of just bottoming out with the head, you've got to think of your belly going straight back. It's more like hundreds position where your lower back is pushing towards the wall behind you. Open the collarbones to the ceiling. Rounding. So you're more vertical through the torso than you are horizontal. Rounding, scooping the abdomen out and coming back up. One more time, rounding. Push the floor away, come back up. You're going to add the rounding to lifting one leg, stepping down on it, lifting the leg, stepping down on it, and then start to go a little more continuously. like you're getting punched in the stomach. You're stepping onto a straight leg. So you won't be able to round as far. Step onto a straight leg. Nice. Keep going. A couple more. Step onto a straight leg. Step onto a straight leg. One more time. Bend your knees. Bring both elbows towards your knees, but round your back. Start to go to one side. Then lift up to the ceiling. Circle to the other side. And around, reverse your direction. Big circle. Probably you'll find spots that are kind of tight. Trying to move through them as you alternate. Keeping the legs bent as you circle around. And circling around. And one more time. Push the floor away and stand back up. So then we're going to bend the standing leg and lift the leg in the air. Obviously, don't hit yourself in the face with your knee. Round, press up. Round, press up. And the faster you go, usually the harder. So it's like an abdominal curl and a squat. Try to stand tall between each one. Yeah, good. And a couple more. As much as you can, try not to go side to side too much. Should be right underneath yourself. And 4, 3, 2, and last one. Release your arms. Bend your knees, come down into a squat position. So your torso is hinged, lengthening through your back. Try not to drop your chest lower than you're flexing at the hip joint. So good squat position. Transfer your weight to one side and then transfer your weight to the other side. So you're just shifting a little side to side. Then pick one side, stay on it. Lift your foot. Bring your leg back down. Lift and back down. So your knees pointed forward. You're not trying to turn out. You're just leaving it in the same angle. Lift and lower. Lift, lower. If this were too hard, you could always go to a wall and use the wall like a ballet bar to help you. Good. Obviously, the lower you are, the harder this is. Two more. And then find that little weight transfer to the other side. Lift, tap down. Yeah, if you can, keep your body from tipping sideways. So your body's vertical, you're hinged at your hip, and you're trying to lift the leg. Yeah, as you lift, nothing else should have to change. So everything stays where it is. That's better. Yeah, good, Soraya. Little lift. Like I said, Natalia and others, feel free to add weights if you need more. Last two and last one. And you're still in that squat position. Tap one foot back, bring it back in underneath your hip. Tap the other foot back, bring it back underneath. Tap and under yourself. Tap and under yourself. If you're using weights, you might add a little movement of the arms. Reach back, under yourself. Minimize the shifting side to side as much as you can. Tap, back, tap, squat, tap, squat. Good. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring one leg back, hold it there. See if you can take a little bit of weight out of your foot, tap your foot back down. Lift it a little, tap it down. You're not really moving your torso to do this. Arms can be wherever it's helpful. Lift, tap. If you want to add to that, you could lift up the leg, pull it in, push it back out, tap it down. Lift, in, out, and down. Obviously, there's a balance component of that. That's right. You use your arms to help you stabilize. Good. Nice, Gloria. 3 more. Last one. You're going to pull that leg in, the same one that you've been moving. Let the knee turn out to the side a little and then back forward. Knee turns out a little, then back forward. So a little rotation and then back to the front. You're trying to not wiggle like I am, but you're still in your squat. You can have the toe touching the ground with hardly any weight on it, or you could lift your foot off the floor, but you're trying to not let everything else wiggle around. You're not vertical, you're in that squat, so you're not upright. 3, 2, and last one. And then stand all the way back out. And you go back into that squat with the taps behind you. Feet are about sits bones distance apart or about as wide as the hips. Trying to minimize the side to side movement as you transfer from one leg to the other. Kind of a push-pull feeling. Push the leg out, pull it in, push it out. 4 more. Then whichever is that second leg is going to reach out, stay there and just take a little weight off of it, tap it back down. Keep pulling in your low abs so you're not lifting your legs so high that you sink into your lower back. So you might not lift very high, that's totally fine. And then you can add that pull of the leg in and reach it back out and then touch it down. Lift, in, out, lower it down. In, out, lower it down. Let me see. Good. Lift. Nice, Natalia. And 4 more. 3, 2, and last one. You're going to hold the leg in that bent position. Turn the leg out and forward. Out and in. Out, in, out, in. Last 3. 3, 2, and last one, and then stand all the way back up. Good. Take your legs about as wide as the widest part of your hips. Using weights or whatever you have, reach your arms forward, and then just open your arms out to the side with a little bend in them. Open and close a few times. You could stand up in between each one if you'd like. Down and up. If you're working on your squat position, I think it's easier to just hold a good position than it is to move in and out of it. So you decide. Pushing out and in. If you want to add just a little bounce, you could do that too. Push, pull. Good. And 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold your arms here, bend your elbows into your side. This is kind of a weird motion. Leave your hands where they are and just rotate your elbows up and down. So you're trying to use the back of your shoulders, rotator cuff. So you're not lifting and lowering and moving the hands stay still, and you're trying to just move the elbows around it. Yeah, exactly. So trying to get some of the rotator cuff stuff going here. And 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then reach the arms forward, turn the palms up, bend the elbows by the sides. Reach forward and bend it back in. And then step your feet a little bit wider apart. Go down a little lower and reach out and pull in. Reach out and pull in, kind of like offering on the reformer. Reach forward, pull in. And in. And then reach the arms forward, stay there, bicep curl here. Keep the height of the elbow. And you can add like a little bounce to the legs if that feels good to you. Bicep curl. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Turn the palms in to face each other. Open out, close, open, and close. So like open elbows on the reformer. As you're doing this, you're trying to not pop your chest forward, that you keep your torso the same. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Turn the palms back towards your face. Open and close the elbows. If you want to add that little bounce of the leg, pulse and pulse and 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower your arms down by your sides. Go back to that reach forward. You're going to pull one elbow back to the side and rotate. Rotate. Should feel kind of nice because it's more free. Rotate. Rotate, rotate. And 4, 3, 2, and last one. And come back to the center. Roll down towards the floor. You can leave the weights on the floor for a second. Shake your head like you're saying no. And then press through the back of the legs to roll back up to standing. So then like a deadlift, you're gonna have your knees a little bit apart. You're trying to not send your butt backwards. You're gonna hinge towards the floor. You can have a little bend in the knee if you like, and then lift back up. It depends on how big your weights are. If you have the kind that'll stand up vertically, it's a little easier. If you need to put them on something, you're trying to lift them up and then lower them back down and come up without them. Obviously, you could add yoga blocks, books, all kinds of things underneath an ottoman, whatever you have. It should feel like a lengthening through the back of the legs and a lengthening through the back of the legs. Yeah, exactly. If you have the kind of weights that stand up like this, then you could always turn them that way. Mine don't stand up. Yeah, and if it doesn't feel good to lift and lower all the way down to the floor, then don't feel like you have to. Obviously, we're working on mobility, and you're getting this nice full range of the hamstring. So you're fully lengthening the back of the leg as you come down and up, but it is a big range of motion. So if it's not working for you today, find something to elevate the weights onto. One more time. And then come all the way back up. Good. So then you're going to prop one foot up so you have barely any weight on that foot. and the other leg is trying to do the exact same thing you just did. You probably won't get all the way to the floor, so let's keep the weights in your hands and then come back up. So you're putting 90% of your weight into the leg that is not propped up on the toes. Does that make sense? We're obviously beginning to do a single leg deadlift. Letting yourself hinge towards horizontal and come back up. If you want, you can lift your toes off the ground, or you can reach your leg back and do a full range. Hinging and pulling yourself back up. If you're on a Pilates mat and you're struggling with balance today, feel free to step off the mat. You can always go back to this preparatory movement of having the toe tucked under. Should feel like lots of standing leg hamstring work. The hamstring lengthens for you to go down, it shortens for you to come back up. 2 more like this. Lengthen that hamstring, go down as far as you can balance, pull it up. Lengthen down and pull it back up. Switch to the other leg. Follow the foot on the kind of on the walk, and then hinge and come back up. Hinging, thinking of your weight going forward. And when you're ready, take that leg off the floor if you did that on the other side. Hinging and bring it back in. Hinge and back in. Nice. Should feel like the arch of your foot is working as well. Might be kind of intense. If it gets too intense, shake it out and start again. A few more here. Hinging and coming back. You always can do the previous version, which is toes touching the floor. Still going to be harder for that one leg. Awesome. Last 3. And 2. And last 1. Good. And then you're going to put both feet back down, nod the chin, roll yourself back down to the floor, shake your head out for a second. Drop the back of the pelvis, start to roll up, engaging through your abdominals. Good. This next part, we're going to use a towel. If you're on a hardwood floor where you can slide, if you're on carpeting, then you'll probably have to do it with, your foot just sliding on the carpeting. So if you put the towel at the side of your mat and the leg that's more on the side on the towel, it should allow you to bend the front leg to slide out into a lunge and then pull your foot all the way back underneath you. So slide out, pull back in underneath yourself. Yeah. If there's no way you can slide on whatever surface you're on, you would be just sliding your foot. Like I can slide my sock on my sticky mat. So you should be able to slide it out a little bit. It's a little more free feeling without that, without being stuck to it. Some of you might have these kind of slider discs too. Those work really well if you have carpeting. And slide out. Feel like that front glute's what pushes you back up. With or without the hand weight, slide out. Push yourself all the way back up to tall so you're not stopping kind of short of vertical. And slide out and pull yourself up. So very similar to some exercises you've probably done on the reformer. And sliding out. Watch that as you go down, the front knee isn't kind of wobbling in and out, stays in that nice alignment. Once you get down on your next one, stay and just pump the leg out and in. Bend it in, push it out, bend it in, push it out. And then come all the way back up and in, and then you're gonna slide out in your lunge, 4 pumps, and then stand back up and stand up. Do that a few times. Slide it out and pump and stand back up. And again, slide out and pump, 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 and pump. 2 more times. Slide it out, 4 pumps. And last one, slide out and your 4 pumps. And stand back up. Turn around to face the other side is the easiest way to get to the other side. Start with both feet underneath you. Slide your leg out. Use the standing hip to pull you back up and in. Lunge. Back up nice and tall. Awesome. Lunge. And up. Good. And obviously you're just going down as low as it feels good to you. So, you know, it might be a small lunge like this. That's totally fine. It might be really big. And then stay in your lunge and pump the back leg. Feel that front hip working to hold you there. And then come all the way back up. Then we do our lunge, 4 pumps, lunge, 4 pumps. Lunge and pump. And lunge, pump. 2, 3, 4. 3 more sets. And 2. And last one. And stand all the way back up. Awesome. Turn back around to the first side. A plie is when you have your torso staying vertical. So you might not be able to go as low. You have to have a little more flexibility in the back of your ankles. So don't feel like you have to go as low. Whereas a squat, you're in an angle forward. So I want you to plie. So you're in a little bit of a squat knee bend position with the torso vertical. Reach the leg forward on that towel and then sweep the towel out to the side and around, half circle. If you're on hardwood floor and you have socks on that slide, not grippy socks, you can do that instead. Whatever works for you. Kind of polishing the floor, feeling here, around and around, trying to not let the hip shift. Pelvis stays centered. 4, 3, 2, and last one. And then turn around to face the other direction. Vertical plie and leg around and around. Find your balance. If you lose it, just start over, kind of reset. 4, 3, 2, and last one. And then bring yourself back up. Good. Come into a squat position with no towel, nothing extra. And then you're going to transfer your weight like we did earlier to one side, and then just touch your foot behind you, almost like you're going to do a little curtsy, and then step out, transfer your weight, touch behind. If that's not working for you, you can just go back to this shifting side to side, but just a little touch back, side shift, touch back. Yeah, and start to let that get a little bigger. Of course, you can add hand weights if you want. So you could go down, lower, shift, go down, lower, kind of curtsy squat. Stick with just a little tap behind yourself if you've got anything going on with your knees. If you don't, go for it. Try to get lower. side, lower, side. Yeah, nice. You're trying to keep the hip from kind of shifting up on that side. So you're going down with your hips relatively square. And you can reach that back leg back behind you more. And a few more here. 4, 3, 2, and last one. And then come back to that wide position. Shift your weight a little side to side, keeping your head the same height. So you're in a squat position and you're doing a side lunge, side to side. You're trying to not come up and down, trying to stay low the whole time. Arms could be out to the side, arms could be overhead. Push-pull feeling. Nice. Instead of being vertical, hinge your torso forward, get your hips down. Yeah, and then your torso is trying to not continue to swing side to side. It stays in the middle of the two legs. Good. And take your arms forward and side. If you have weights, go for it. Play around with the palms facing up or down. 4, 3. And then stay to one side. Lift your arms overhead. Push your arms back to the side. Lift overhead, back to the side. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Little shift side to side. Add your arms. Palms can play around with being up or down, or both, alternating, trying to stay as low as you can. And find the second side, hold, up, out to the side, up, side, up. Last 2, and last 1. And then step your feet back together, nod your chin, roll down to your mat, and set one knee down and then the other knee down. Hands on the floor. You can do a little circle or shift. If you've got weights that are comfortable to hold on at the back of the knee, or if they hook around your ankle, that'd be good too. Flex your foot. Bring your elbows down to the floor and press that heel up and tap down. As you're lifting and lowering your leg, just finding that connection through the back of the glute. If you have the weight at the back of the knee, it kind of holds your leg in that angle, or else you drop the weight. So try not to straighten your leg as you come up. If you're not holding a weight, it's easier to accidentally straighten the leg. Yeah, hold the leg up, little pulses. And then going into big circles, so your leg goes down, out to the side, and around. Down and around. Keeping the pelvis as square as possible. And then reverse. Last 2. And last 1. And then lower that leg down. Keep your weight in that leg. We're not switching sides yet, but you're going to roll onto your side. If you can, keep the weight behind the knee. If it's too hard to hold on to, then I understand. So holding that weight still behind the knee, legs going back and forward, creasing at the front of the hip, holding your knee at the center of the hip joint, so you're not letting your knee be down and your foot be up. It's nice and parallel. And then bring the leg in front of you, open and close the book. If you can, lay all the way down on your side. It's fine to prop up like this, but it does crunch up your waist, so you don't have to work as hard in your abdominals to keep that mouse house on the bottom side. And then start to take your leg into a full circle. Circling around, keep squeezing that weight at the back of the knee. Obviously, if it's too much, get rid of it. Reverse. Sorry if you hear construction noise in the background. Neighbors are working on something. Hopefully that's not what you're thinking about though. And then bring your legs back in front of you, turn your knee up, tap your heel down, lift your knee towards your shoulder. Tap your heel down, lift up. Tap down, lift up. Should feel like you get the back of the hip really working here. 4, almost lost my weight. 3, 2, and last one. And then set the weight down. Take both arms forward. Do a big rotational stretch. Open your chest. You can take your hand up on the high diagonal. So you stretch the front of the pec and the front of the shoulder open. And then come all the way back onto your hands and knees. You can put the weight behind the other knee. And start by just keeping the foot flexed. Knee comes down, press it back up. Long through the spine. So you're trying to not sink into extension here, but that you're pulling up on the bottom ribs, thinking of more like a flat back position. Neutral. Hopefully you already feel that standing hip working some. Hold the leg up on the next one. Little pulse. Pulse. Trying to not let the standing hip hike up so the waist is equally long on both sides. And then circling the leg down and around. Down and around. And then we reverse. 6, 4, 3, 2, and last one. And then you're gonna lay down on your second side. Either, however you want to get there is fine with me. And then holding the weight, start with just the leg going forward and back. Foot and knee at hip height. Trying to use the back of your hamstring to hold the weight. Good. And then bring the leg forward, lift the leg and lower the leg a few times. As you lift and lower, trying to keep the pelvis from tipping backwards on you. Nice. Find that little mouse house on the underside of the waist. And then circle your leg around. 4, 3, 2, and last one, reverse. 6, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Circle your leg around, set your leg down in front of you, take both arms forward, and reach your top arm up to the ceiling, rotate your torso open, take your arm up on the high diagonal to get a little more stretch to the front of the pec. Take a couple breaths, sinking further into rotation. And then come all the way back to where you started from. You're gonna come onto your hands and knees again, and leave the weight on the floor. Push yourself back onto your feet, walk your hands towards your feet, drop the back of the pelvis, and roll yourself up to standing. From here, we're gonna fold our mat up and kind of roll it up so it's a small little roll. You have to be a little bit careful to not trip yourself. I put the weights on there to hold the ends of it down, but you have to be careful not to trip yourself on the folded up edges. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna put our heels on the corner. It's okay if the weights fall off, but in a hips distance apart position and go down into your squat. My guess is you should be able to go quite low now because your heels are elevated up onto that mat surface. Yeah, going down and pressing up. As you go down, it should feel like you have a lot more freedom in your range of motion because of the elevation of the heels. When you come up, make sure you don't get into this kind of pitched forward position that you're pulling up through the front of the pelvis. And sometimes people think about it like pushing the hips forward, but don't think of the glutes working to push the hips forward. Think of the glutes working to drop the back of the pelvis and lift the front of the pelvis to vertical. Yeah, down and up. Of course, you can add weights in your hands. Go down and stay, little pulse. Obviously, if it hurts your knee, don't go too low. Little pulse, and 4, 3, and stand back up, and a couple more, down and up. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Stay down, pulse. 2, 3, 4, and come all the way back up. Last set, down and up. 6, 5. It's going to be a really small range if that's what you need today. Last one, stay down in your pulses. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and come back up. Put one foot on the length of the tube here that you've created. It hopefully is high enough that it feels like your legs aren't level and your leg on the mat is bent. And then you're gonna stand by straightening the leg on the mat, bending the leg on the mat. If you have a yoga block, you could use that instead. Tap down, press up. So it's at the very beginning of a one-legged squat. So you're just going down a little, push up, down a little, push up. Yeah. Should feel pretty manageable. If you want to add to this, as you go down, the leg could sweep out to the side. A lot more balance is required, so do what you need. Out and back up. Then the standing leg, come back up. Then the standing leg, back up. And 2 more. And now you're going to put your toes on the floor and go down into a squat. So one heel is down, one heel is up. Stay there. One heel is down, one heel is up. And hold that position. Just lower that heel, lift the heel. Lower, lift. Kind of that feeling of fanning the foot open we've talked about before. And you can slide your foot back a little bit if you want it to be a bigger range of motion. If you want it to be even bigger, you could put your foot really far back so that you could straighten your knee completely. 4, 3, 2, and last one. Step that foot up onto the mat roll and find that little squat, vertical, standing leg is bent. You push up to standing on the mat. Use your foot, the one on the floor that you're not standing on, however you need to help you balance. If you don't need it, try to keep it touching anything as little as possible. Lift and lower, good. And lift and lower. Touch the floor, push the floor away. Pushing down through that standing side. If you added that little sweep of the leg out, You could do that here as well. Good. Four more. Good. Try to keep the hip from shifting as you bend and flex in that standing hip joint. And then you're gonna put the toes on the floor and come down into the squat, and then just lower and lift that heel. Lower and lift. If you need to slide your foot back more, you can. Basically, your body and your standing leg is not moving at all. It's just the foot on the floor that you're kind of opening the back of the calf, working through your foot and your toes. Good. Natalia, see if you can drop your right hip a little. Like, yeah. So that it's slightly less up and you'll feel more glute medius that way. Last two. And last one. And then come all the way back up. Stand with both feet on your small unstable surface. And transfer your weight into one leg. Find your balance. It should feel like more work because you're on an unstable surface. If you need arms to help you, feel free to add them. You're just going to reach your leg forward, tap against the mat. Reach out to the side, tap the mat. Reach back, tap the mat. So the more I'm moving myself more to the center. The more you squeeze your foot against the mat, the more it's going to help you to find your balance. If you don't need that help, keep your leg in the air and don't touch the mat. Bend and straighten. Nice. The standing leg can have a little bit of a softening in it. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight, you decide. And that might change as you go from front to side to back. And that's okay. One more round. And then switch which foot you're standing on. And reach forward, touch the side of the mat or the edge of the mat. Reach side, touch the mat. If you need to adjust where you are on the mat, feel free to do that. And you're trying to use the mat and that squeeze of your foot to help you gain stability. Then once you don't need it, don't touch it anymore. Good. Awesome, everyone. One more round. Good. And then put both feet back on the mat. Nod your chin and roll through your spine towards the floor. And you're on an elevated surface now. So see if you could still touch the floor, even though your feet are higher. Bend your knees a little bit. Straighten the back of the legs. Do that again. Bend the knees a little bit. Straighten the back of the legs. And roll yourself back up to standing. Transfer your weight to one leg. Reach your arms out to the side. Reach that foot forward. Circle your ankle. We've been doing this for a while in this class without standing on this rolled up mat. So if it's too hard, get off the mat. Yeah, and circle the other way. 6, 5, 4, 3. Awesome. And then your leg is going to go to the side. Circle your ankle. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Reverse. 6, 5. Leg goes back. You stay as vertical as you can. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Reverse. 6, 5, 4, And then setting that foot down, the other leg is going to reach forward, circle. And reverse, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Side, 5, 4. Reverse, 6. You can use your arms however they help you. Leg goes back. Last set here, circling, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Reverse, 6. And then rest. Awesome. So then if you put one set of toes against this back edge, if it ends up being too much height, you can always unroll it a little bit so it's not quite so big. You want to be able to have your heel down, and then you're going to step your other foot forward, keep the back heel down, and just open up your back calf. So bend your front leg, get that back heel long. Like I said, if it's too much roll, then unroll the mat a little bit. Bend your back leg a little. Your heel might lift some, but you're trying to keep it down as much as you can. Just opening up your calf. Nice. And then switch which leg is back, which one is forward. Opening up the back leg. Try to make all 10 toes point forward. Instead of transferring your weight back, shift your weight forward as much as you can and you'll get a little more stretch. Bend your knee if you can at all. Straighten it. Bend it a little bit and straighten it. And last one. And then step back forward, shake it out, and you're all done. Awesome work.